What's up, guys? Welcome to the Chess Giant. This is Solomon Riddell, and in today's video, we'll be counting down 5 facts about the American grandmaster, Bobby Fischer. He had an amazing career in chess, with many historic moments, but many other moments later in his life marred his legacy as he lost his mind in a number of ugly ways. He became overtly racist and sexist, taking every opportunity to push his hatred for Jews, women, and the United States of America. My interest in chess and my idea for this channel go beyond only studying the game and into learning about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the people behind the game, what kind of people they were, what they stood for, and how they used their influence to affect not only chess, but the rest of the world. I hope you enjoyed this video and learn a thing or two about the life of Bobby Fischer. At number 5, we have Bobby Fischer's status as a chess prodigy. He took the chess world by storm and racked up numerous unprecedented accomplishments. 1956 saw him catch national attention as he won the U.S. Junior Chess Championship with a score of 8.5 out of 10. He was far from finishing there, playing a brilliant game at 13 that eventually became known as the game of the century, and soon becoming a grandmaster at 14, and then the U.S. chess champion at 15. He continued to improve and eventually found himself as one of the entire world's premier players. In the 1963 and 64 U.S. Chess Championship, Fischer won with a score of 11 out of 11, easily one of the greatest tournament performances of all time. I could talk for hours about this period. Point is that the 8-time U.S. chess champion was on the rise, and the world was watching. At number 4, we have Fischer catching fire from 1970 to 1971. This 2-year period was arguably the most dominant run in the history of chess. Fischer won 8 straight top tournaments in amazing fashion, and this propelled him into the 1971 candidates matches, which he dominated even more. He began the quarterfinals against the Soviet grandmaster Mark Taimanov and won the match 6-0. This was unheard of. A score like this was unprecedented and highly improbable. Many chalked it up as some strange occurrence that would never be seen again until Fischer beat Bent Larsen with, yes, another score of 6-0. This put him at 12-0 in the candidates matches and earned him a spot in the final against Tigran Petrosian. He did not hold on to a perfect streak through the final, but still dominated with a score of 6.5 to 2.5. This run was so absurd, even publications like Sports Illustrated and Life magazine began taking notice, writing articles on Fischer after his performances. At number 3, we have Fischer becoming the 11th World Chess Champion. Now, leading up to the match against the current world champion, Boris Spassky, Fischer was incredibly stubborn about the match conditions. This had been a trend during his entire career, but was now more noticeable than ever on the world stage. He incited disputes about the location and prize fund of the match, but eventually agreed to play in Iceland with a $250,000 prize fund, which today would be worth around $1.5 million. And on top of that, what makes this match truly fascinating is that it served as a symbolic battle between the United States and Soviet Union during the Cold War. This match was much bigger than chess. It was viewed as a measurement of American and Soviet intellects going against one another. It caught worldwide news coverage and was seen as a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle by all who were watching. Fischer emerged victorious and became even more highly esteemed in the United States. He was offered product endorsements totaling an estimated $30 million in today's world, all of which he declined. He found himself on the cover of Sports Illustrated and on multiple broadcasts, such as the Dick Cavett Show and a Bob Hope special. Up to this point, apart from his stubborn sportsmanship, Fischer's life was pretty inspiring. He was at the very top when it all came crashing down around him. At number 2, we have Fischer's sudden abandonment of chess. After his extraordinary 1972 victory against Spassky, Fischer found himself set to play Anatoly Karpov in 1975, and he tried to outline the match with 3 outlandish and non-negotiable demands. Demand number 1 was that the match would not end until either player had won a full 10 games, obviously meaning draws counted for nothing. Demand 2 was a lack of any upwards limit on how many games could be played. If, say, the match were to begin with 54 straight draws, it would continue onwards with a score of 0-0. Fischer's third demand was that in the case of a 9-9 score, he would continue to hold his title of World Chess Champion, meaning Karpov could only take the crown with a score of 10-8 or higher. FIDE accepted the first demand, the 10 wins, but wisely rejected the last two. It's simply not feasible from an organizational standpoint to allow for unlimited draws. A match could continue for months or even years. It's equally ridiculous to expect your opponent to have to win 2 more games than you in order to claim the title. Any sport, any match, any measurement of skill should be a fair race. With FIDE blocking 2 of his demands, Fischer resigned his title and walked away from chess, effectively cutting off his career at its peak level. While he did return 20 years later for a rematch against Spassky, claiming he was still the world champion and the match was a championship, these games were not officially recognized, and Garry Kasparov categorized Fischer's play as, okay, nothing more. At number 1, and I say this with sadness, we have the fact that Bobby Fischer should be remembered as a great chess player, but not as a great man. It's not an opinion, not stretch, but a simple fact that his headstrong and opinionated temperament devolved into complete insanity in his later years. Fischer's mother was Jewish, and yet he proudly put forth countless anti-Semitic statements, expressing strong hatred for Jews and their purported control over society. He admired Adolf Hitler. He denied the Holocaust. He called the Jews many, many names I cannot say on this channel without being flagged. He made more remarks about women and their place in the world and their intelligence, or rather, to his mind, their lack thereof. He applauded the 9/11 attacks. He hoped for the United States to be taken over by a military able and willing to execute the Jews. His speech became filled with hatred towards most everyone except himself. His 1992 violation of a U.S. executive order branded him a fugitive from America, and he fled throughout the world for the rest of his life until he was eventually granted citizenship out of pity by the government of Iceland, where he died in relative obscurity in 2008. I know the chess world loves his games. I know it's often seen as somehow noble to separate the art from the artist or the player from the game, but we can't simply gloss over Fischer's life and the ideas that he tried to push forward from his influential position. What he said is unacceptable and evil. To be quite honest, I have a hard time even going over his games sometimes because of the life he lived. Many of these games were great, but Bobby Fischer was not a great man. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Enjoyed might be the wrong word. This definitely wasn't our typical chess giant video, but I do hope you learned something about Fischer and his role in chess history. Thanks for watching, and I'm wishing y'all a great day. Peace. Thanks for watching today's video. If you'd like to watch another one, you can click or tap up here. And I've got a lot more high quality chess content on the way. So if you'd like to subscribe, you can click or tap down here. I really appreciate your support.